Okay, so we're here showcasing one of our favorite projects from last year at the Houston Auto Show. It was the Sprinter Spa that we put together for the Bluffs Med Spa and Massage. So some of the biggest challenges with a project like this is how can you make the inside of this van feel just exactly how a patient feels when they walk into the brick and mortar location that the Bluffs has. So come with me and take a peek to see what we did. So it may not look like there's much to see back here, but this rear area is holding all of our water tanks, a lot of plumbing, our water heater, lots of electrical work back here as well. And so we put this nice barrier so that it's not ugly when a client does open their back door. But again, one of the biggest challenges with putting a mobile med spa together is how do we get adequate power to all of the components that we're using. A lot of the components that they're using not only to provide services for patients, but even some of the aesthetic things that you see here is 110-volt power rather than 12-volt power, which is what you traditionally see in a vehicle. So what we did is we set the entire rear of the van up on its own power system, and we utilized EcoFlow for this. So that way, none of the power is associated whatsoever with the vehicle battery. So they have their own battery system that they can plug in and recharge at the end of every day. And they actually have right at about 10 hours of off-grid power on a full charge with this system. So a fantastic solution for our med spa clients and definitely something we use very often at Van Sharks. Okay, so I'm sitting in the Bluffs Mobile Med Spa. This van turned out beautifully. It is probably my favorite project that we have ever finished. I love everything about it. So what we did as far as the aesthetics in this van go is we took the elements from the brick and mortar location that the Bluffs has, and we took everything from that to then bring that into the van. So the idea for this van is that it was to be an extension of their brick and mortar. And so it was very important to us that we had all of the elements that they use to create their brick and mortar location present also in the van. One of my favorite little last minute additions was this tree. So this is actually real dried eucalyptus. I took lots of floral tape and taped it on every single one of those little branches, but it just creates something in here that is unique. Not a lot of people think to maybe put a tree inside of a van, but it's so perfect and it just really made the space pop. So just like with any other project, all of the projects that we do are custom, so they're all inherently just a little bit different. So with that comes challenges. And so even though this van only took us about 3.5 weeks to complete, one of the biggest challenges is actually these arches. So we started calling them the 7-day arches because it took us exactly 7 days to go ahead and get them correct. So that was definitely one of the bigger challenges. Another challenge that we ran into was when you have wood grain, it's very important that all of the grain is running in the same direction. And so it's those little details that really make a difference. So if I had wood grain flowing horizontally on the top cabinet door and then flowing vertically on this bottom cabinet door, it just would not mesh well and it would not look good. Again, this client has an EcoFlow power system, so that's gonna allow for them to be off-grid for up to about 10 hours at a time. When I say off-grid, that means they do not have to have the van engine powered on, which is actually pretty important. So we custom fabricated this seat for them to match a bench that they actually have in their spa. And so again, really went to every length to try to make sure that this felt like a true extension of their brick and mortar space. This is mostly housing electrical, so their EcoFlow is sitting behind this, and then we have a beverage refrigerator and a drawer here. And if you walk further inside, you've got lots of storage in here, which is pretty important for a mobile med spa. You've got storage over your wheel wells here. You've got an area for a sharps container here. And then you also have your rear cabinet back here. So up here, you've got gloves, paper towels underneath. You've got these nice doors for you to store any of your products that you might want to have handy. And here is your Injector's table. So this we added so that you could set up all of your injection conveniently right here. So some people like it on this side. We had thought about doing both sides, but the majority of their team had requested that we put it here. So we ended up on that side. So all in all, we've really made a huge effort to try to think of absolutely everything so that they would have a great experience, not only being in the van, but injecting and working in the van. So even though it's very beautiful, it's also very functional. So let us know what you think of the van in comments below. And If you're looking to build a van yourself, give us a shout at 713-777-7171.